So I find like late 85, most of 86 to be really fascinating in terms of how 80s music developed. It just seems like it was a lot softer and mellower than most of the other years of the 80s. And I guess it's because the trends of them earlier in the decade, like new wave and arena rock like Foreigner and Journey, and the slicker, smooth R&B like Lionel Richie. Because it had been around for a few years by that point. Even MTV had been on the air for a few years. I guess it had gotten a little smooth and mellow, and there were a lot of ballads and stuff. And then the trends of the later 80s hadn't really taken off. Well, I think it did by the end of like towards the end of 86. There were really three, in my opinion, pivotal, um, like the New Jack Swing, like Janet Jackson had that big album that defined like the R&B of the later 80s and then into the 90s. Probably even more so than that is hip hop like the Beastie Boys. That just sounds like straight up 90s to me. And then my favorite of the three, which are hair bands. Now that had been around since like 83, but it was more like straight up metal. I mean, like Twisted Sister and early Motley Crue and Rad, even Dokken. Then there were a couple of hits like Round and Round, but most of it seemed like it was pretty underground at the time. Whereas once Slippery When Wet came out, again I think it was in late '86. That just really busted the doors open. Then you had Def Leppard and Poison and Whitesnake that pretty soon after that had huge hits. So, but that was really the first '80s metal that went pop. Um, I know. Don't get me wrong. A lot of amazing songs came out in '86. Some of my favorite of the big hits came out that year. But there's no denying that it was on the mellower, softer side. I'm thinking of songs like "That's What Friends Are For." But but I gotta think it would have been like kind of interesting to be a teenager back then, because I gotta think, especially like the edgier people, I would imagine they were listening to either stuff that was a little bit older or the underground. Like I know some people that were like, some of my friends were like, kind of 80s metal heads at the time, but it would have been interesting to be like someone that was into pop, because a lot of that stuff, as amazing as it is, did veer on the softer side. But don't think that it wasn't like just as amazing music as any of the other years, because it was.